Okay guys, welcome back to the YouTube channel. It's Jay Ayyo. So let's get right into it. So basically, we have a situation going on where the indigenous tribe in Jamaica, known as the Maroons, have declined an offer from the Prime Minister to send in the JDF. Now, it is a bit nuanced and a little bit tricky. You have to go back in history to know where we're currently at right now. So basically, what has happened is that Jamaica got hit by a hurricane a month ago. The Prime Minister has been leading efforts, and various organizations and not-for-profits and other entities and institutions have been providing support, and all of that has been coming through the Prime Minister's office. Now, basically, where the issue lies is that the Andrew-led administration, or the Honorable Andrew Holness's led administration, has started to go around to look at which places need support. We know we were talking about the interior places in Jamaica that needed support. So the Prime Minister made an offer to the chieftain of the indigenous tribe in Jamaica, known as Chief Curry, to say, hey, we want to give you all some resources, but we want the military to come with those resources. The chieftain of the indigenous community said, we'll accept the resources, but we don't want the JDF. So those of you who aren't familiar, the JDF is the Jamaican Defense Force. And what people may not know, there is a 1734 treaty which predates what we have current day Jamaica, what we know as 1962 Jamaica. But suffice to say, what that treaty outlines is that basically it's the agreement that the Maroons, who are descendants of individuals who would run off the plantations, their descendants, their children, who are called Maroons, agreed with no powers, which would have been Great Britain at the time, to say, hey, we will stay in this area, and your jurisprudence or protocols, policies, laws, and legislation will not apply to us, as we have our own separate legal jurisprudence, our own rules. We'll create our own rules. So fast forward to now, where Hurricane Melissa comes, damages, let's say, more than half of the nation of Jamaica, and now the Prime Minister is trying to give support. The chief has said that he only wants the resources, and he went on to say that the council said that they don't want the military there. Now, some members in the Maroon tribe have said that they want the military to come in. So it's not a unanimous vote decision where it's the vast majority, but is a conflict, as is evident, that in the chieftain's mind, if we do let the military come in, what other ramifications will there be? Because there has been serious, what we could say, resources in the interior being sought after by the same, not the same government, but previous governments have tried to monetize natural resources, whether that's bauxite, clearing land, and the indigenous people who are the Maroons in Jamaica, known as their compound, they do not like it when you take from the land and you don't give back, and not being considerate. So in the chieftain's response, he was saying the last time he spoke with the Prime Minister was in 2021, is when he came in, which is Chief Curry, when he got elected. So he found it surprising and appreciative that he got support from the Prime Minister, but it's only when there was a disaster that support was given. And the chief's worry is that if we let the military in, what is going to come next? So he's being reserved, as he should be. He has to his tribe, his group of people, and he has to be careful, because if you not quote unquote break the treaty or let them in, what other things are they going to want rolled back? The Jamaican government, so to speak. What are they going to want rolled back? What are you gonna have to do as an indigenous community to get more support? So what's the buy-in here? What's the catch? That's what the chieftain's main response is. What is the catch? What is the goal? And I think what the chief has said is that primarily, you know, having donations from the outside public, having it being led by their group of individuals on the ground is preferred than having the support of the military. And I think with the chieftain's view is that he may view the military as colonialistic. It does have colonial ties. When we talk about the West India Regiment and how the Jamaica Defense Force was formed, it had its links to the West India Regiment. It's similar to the East India Trading Company in India, when the individuals would ship tours or ship voyages and pillage certain countries. And it's no different that just because you have that colonial power gone doesn't mean that its institutions still aren't there. It's still there. It's still set up, or everything that Jamaica does in terms of tradition is from the UK, and it's still linked to the UK. And so the chieftain is hesitant, and I would say from the observation, it looks as if he's looking out for his own people, and he wants to make sure that he's in the room with what is being said, when it's being said, how it's being said, who it's going to impact, and what would that look like. And I think it says a lot about a leader, that sometimes you may have to make an unfavorable decision for the greater good of your people. But it also is unique that he said we'll accept the resources, but we don't want the military there. And I think that is a strategic move. It is a move that is going to show who has the power, who has the play, who has the force. And I think Chief Curry is one that has that. There are some people saying that there's some political lines that are going on there, because he used to work with a bank and all that stuff for a certain party, which may open questions of where loyalty and allegiances lie. But the reality is the chief is being cautious on what he is doing for his community, despite the disaster that the Maroons and indigenous community has had with being cut off, and now trying to get light set up, water. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out and how it will benefit them, because the Prime Minister could say, well, no military, no resources, and that kind of would end the story. I would say, suffice to say, if you could get the support, get the support. If you have conditions of support on what you want and what you're willing to take, name it by all means. But the indigenous community have always been self-sufficient. They don't like to really interact with the government. They like the government to stay out of their business. And this was an offer from the Jamaican government, and I think it's a good gesture by the Jamaican government. But equally, I would also say vast majority of people in Jamaica are descendants of pre-existing historical issues that have existed. It's just that the Maroon tribe were the first to leave and create their own path. So, to a normal Jamaican, it may seem similar, but what's with the special treatment? And there's a reason for the special treatment, because it did set a standard on what would happen